Okay.
Hey, welcome to Good Mythical MORE. We're going to talk dating during quarantine with Ellie. Hello, Ellie.
Hello.
But first, Ellie has some mental math to punish one of us, if you didn't call correctly on this coin, Rhett. So let's see what it is.
I said heads, and it is heads. Link, you have to do the math problem in your head.
I hate doing, I don't do math in my head, so hit me with your best shot.
Ready? A bat and a ball cost $1.10. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost?
The bat costs $1 more than the ball?
Mm-hmm.
The bat costs $1.
No. How much does the ball cost?
Oh, a 10 cent.
Incorrect.
No, because if it's 10 cents, then it's $1.10. That's $1 more.
No. The ball is actually 5 cents.
Yeah, $1.05 and 5 cents.
Because then it would just be 95 cents more.
You lost me. All right, give me another one.
That's all I've got. 3
Fine.
plus 5
I don't get to redeem myself. You know, it's because I've been sniffing dust bunnies. Rhett's dust bunnies. There's stuff living in that, man.
Yeah,
There's
but
like
it's good. It's good things. It's good
if
things.
you looked at that stuff under a microscope, it would be like an ant farm, but the ants would be like satanic ants with all types of limbs and creepy crawly mouths and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a Mucinex commercial.
But not that cute. Ellie.
But all that stuff is living in your house already.
What is
exactly.
it? Are you going to take us on a journey? Because I got to forget about this math.
Well, I don't know. I thought we were just going to chat.
Yeah, let's chat about dating, like we always do.
Yeah. So, like, last More that I was in, I talked about living alone in an apartment with just me and my dog, and some people, and we made our little pals.
Oh yeah.
And some people noticed, if you watched certain episodes, there used to be appearances by Ellie's boyfriend, Pat. And he's now Ellie's ex-boyfriend, Pat, but we're really good friends. It was a very mutual, very loving breakup supposed to happen. But so because of that, I am single for the first time in years. Okay. And like a global pandemic happened. So there's a lot of interesting things at work.
Now, full disclosure.
What?
Full disclosure, I had a special relationship with Pat myself. And so, I mean, we're video chatting a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean maybe every other day. But, I'm still Team Ellie all the way, though.
No, you can't have it both ways. I'm
not
Team
that
Ellie. Pat was never my friend. Pat was never my friend. I never talked to Pat except when he came around for those 2 skits. Like he was never my friend. So Ellie,
hold on. You're calling them skits. It's so dismissive to just call them skits.
They were skits.
Okay.
Yeah. I also wrote those.
Yeah, you did. Okay, well, before you tell us...
I'm glad you guys are in touch.
How does one conduct themselves? I mean, do you just give up on dating? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, it was never my intention to, date during quarantine. I feel like I should say that first and foremost.
Uh-huh.
It has not been on my mind. I feel like the anxiety in general is just not conducive to, feeling like, oh, I'm going to fall in love,
Yeah.
But, and I can get into this in more detail, things have come up anyway, and I think there's just, a weird cocktail going on of, everyone's lonely. Even if you live with people, even if you're quarantined with, the love of your life, everyone feels isolated and weird. And human beings, need connection. And, I only recently, re-downloaded an app. I had gotten on an app a couple months ago and didn't like it. And so I just stopped because I was like, I'll just come to it when the time is right. And then I like re-downloaded it a couple weeks ago, and it's wild out there. People are thirsty for human contact.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
Okay. So
it's active.
Virtually.
I'm very interested in this, not personally, but I've been thinking about, well, since we were going to have this conversation with you, I was like, hold on, I haven't thought about this at all because it's just not a part of my life. I'm a married man. But my theory was that, yes, it's got to be like going crazy right now. And people have got to be starting relationships that are only online, and they're just waiting for quarantine to be over and probably violating quarantine early and talking themselves into, that's just one person. That's got to be happening a lot. That's my theory.
Yeah, well, I'll say, personally, I haven't, done that at all. Like, I have one best friend who also lives alone near me, and she and I see each other. But, like, I do have a friend of mine who has what he's dubbed a quarantine bae. And he's like, they keep talking. They've been talking for, like, a month now. And they're, like, fully, like, Zoom calls every other day, texting all the time. Like, he's, like, in it. Very much like, I guess, I don't know if he would say falling in love, but they're, like, fully, like, wifed up with each other. And he keeps on being like, don't you think we could go on, like, a walk around the lake, like, with distance, with masks? And I'm like, that's a slippery slope, dude. But I mean,
yeah, but it would be it would be tough to not do that. Like if you were really connecting with somebody, especially somebody else who's been in isolation, because then you could be like, well, we've both been in quarantine. We probably both don't have it. You could easily talk yourself into that.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I know some people who have full on, like, are in relationships, coupled up, but they don't live together, and like dating for years. Or dating at all, like if you're calling someone your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and some of those people are, seeing each other, that's like the one person that they'll see. And then some of them are just not seeing each other at all, which, like, I don't know, if I was, like, in love with someone and this happened, I don't know if I would be able to, like, fully stop seeing them, which I don't know if that's bad to say, but I'm not in that position, so it's fine.
If it was only you and that other person, you lived in two separate homes, but then you hung out, so then you formed this, like, it's like two rooms in a house, but they're just the two rooms in two different houses.
I think I'm no scientist. I do know some, but I think that's totally acceptable. I think forming a pod, if the individual members of the pod have maintained a strict quarantine, then you're not increasing the chances of anything by getting together. I don't think. Right?
Yeah, everyone has, it's kind of a personal thing. Like, everyone has their own.
Yeah, but I think the main question, though, is dates. Jade, stop. Come here.
First of all, Link, that vertebrae looks like it belongs behind you. Oh, don't get used to that. It really fits in with your decor.
What was I saying? I think the main question is actually conducting dates exclusively, like not like a first date over video chat, a second date. At what point are you just video chatting as an extension of texting? And at what point does the video chat become a date?
Okay, great question. So I had someone slide into my Instagram DMs, and it's like a guy I knew, in the world pre-pandemic. But like very much just acquaintances in comedy, and he just showed up in my DMs saying that he'd always had a crush on me and he thinks I'm really cute, and like, would you want to text sometime, and talk? And I was just like, this rules. I love this. And he's a good looking guy, and I was like, sure, whatever. And we started texting, and then he asked me on a date, on Zoom.
Okay.
To go from just texting, chatting to hang out and get to know each other better on Zoom, which I'll be honest, I was like, I don't know, this seems weird. But then I found out that lots of people are doing this.
Oh yeah, gotta be.
I think the difference is, because I think you move from texting, if the phone is handheld, it's not a date. You have to.
It was on the laptop.
Yep. When the video chat moves from being handheld to being stationary, that's when you're on a date.
Why?
And you don't even have to say it, but I think you should say it.
Why though?
Because it's like it's the relational connection version of a meeting. I mean, nobody here at Mythical joins a meeting and they're just like walking around like, hey guys, look up my nose. That's not.
I agree with you, but let me point out one potential flaw in that perspective. And that is, and again, I'm not making any assumptions about anything that's happening on any of your Zoom calls, Ellie, or anybody else's Zoom calls. But if you have a phone and it's mobile, you can point it at different things and move it around more easily than you can a laptop.
This is a date. This is not porn.
No, I'm just saying, but hold on. Nothing's wrong with me. That's what these Zoom calls, that's what's happening eventually on these Zoom calls. That's where these are going. People are, everything's bottled up. I mean, that's what's happening, guys. I'm telling you.
No.
You don't know.
No, not here. I will say, listen, all jokes aside, all implications aside, I will say that in my experience, this whole process has been very courting, very Victorian,
right.
very full
It's like sitting on a porch. Sitting on a porch next to each other.
Because there's no physical contact, it's these guys, so I'm straight, and so I'm, interacting with guys, and these guys are if I had a little bit of being back in the dating pool before the world turned upside down, and it was what you can expect, lots of people who want to keep it casual and some weird texting etiquette. I don't really care because I wasn't really invested in it. And then this is a full shift. People are what's your family like?
Yeah.
What do you do in your spare time? What moves you? And I'm just
you have to connect deeper conversationally. And so I think it's extremely healthy, and I think it's an exciting, refreshing new version of dating. But here's one problem. And by the way, if we're talking about dating apps, we should also talk about the new Mythical Society app.
Oh,
so that's
nice
my plug.
transition.
If you want to join the Mythical Society, you can be on your phone. See, it doesn't have to be like a big meeting. You can just be on your phone on the Mythical Society with the app.
It's free.
MythicalSociety.com. Check that out. It is free, Android and iOS. Here's the challenge, I think, with dating. You can connect more because you're taking the physicality off the table. But you can't, the eye contact thing is a problem because if you really want to make googly eyes at somebody or have that moment of eye connection. Right now I'm staring at a hole. I'm looking at the camera. If I'm going to look at you, and if you were my date and I wanted to connect with you or whatever, you're watching me watch you, but we're not looking at each other.
Yeah, and you can't do that thing where you look at somebody's lips and then back to their eyes and to their lips and to their eyes and to their lips and to their eyes and let them know that you're into them. You can't do that either because they just looks like somebody over here going like this.
Right. So, Ellie, how do you deal with that on your dates? Because there's a fundamental eye disconnection that, ironically, the more connected you feel, there's right now. I don't know. What are you looking at? You could be looking at ads in the paper.
I'm 100% looking at my face and with you guys on any Zoom call with my friends on this date, I'm just constantly making eye contact with just myself and hoping no one notices. But I know everyone does that because the human brain is so the human brain lights up if someone says your name. The human brain lights up when it sees a reflection of you. It's so self-obsessed that to be in a video chat where you are there as well and someone else's face.
You have to make yourself smaller, Ellie. And you can't right now. You're the main part of my screen because you're talking, and I'm just a little bug in the corner. I can see that I'm not out of frame, but you can't make yourself as big as your date.
No, I did. It was 50-50.
No, but you can't. Don't do that.
Listen, the gaze
I think
the
50-50 is
gazes
pretty
that
good.
are happening?
Well, and it's only a matter of time before they figure out how to put the cameras right over the eyes and they just move around the screen. And so, and so you're always making eye contact with whoever you're talking
I mean,
to.
that makes
Come
a
on,
huge difference
Apple, do that.
for like dating. I mean,
Steve, you know what? Steve Jobs would have figured that out, Tim Cook. That's what would have happened. Steve Jobs would have had the little roly-poly cameras that go all around the screen. He would have figured that out like 2 years ago. Tim Cook did the
Cook
program.
is not in this chat.
They did try to do the
Oh, he's in
Google
every
Glass,
chat.
and it was not really super effective, but
Yeah.
people didn't like it.
And then what about making out? I mean, is there a video chat version of making out where you just basically purse your lips and you like take them right up to the hole?
Well, no, you
I
put your
like
lips
something.
on the
I've
screen. You put your lips on the screen, and your eyes are on
Oh my
the camera.
god.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
That's how
Wait,
you do
I-
it.
Here.
Right. Yeah, so it's like this.
Oh wow.
This is me getting in close enough so
I
that
think
we are almost
Ellie and I are making out.
and then I pull away and I say, I can't. It's a bad time.
Wow, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah, everything just sped up in my brain of what that was looking like, and I regret everything.
Well, we're just trying to teach the kids, you know.
Yeah, right. The kids got to know what to do out there.
Yeah,
I mean, the
obviously,
fact that I could do that and it didn't feel inappropriate tells me that it's never going to work.
It's not the same. I don't think that's
I will
how
never
people
get to
are
make out
getting-
with somebody over a video chat. That's what I'm saying.
It's true, but like, I have gotten so people have slid into the DMs. I got a physical letter from someone
Oh wow.
expressing their like affection for me, and then I got an email from someone saying that they've always had a crush on me and can we like FaceTime, and I'm overwhelmed, and I don't think it's me. I think people are just lonely as hell, and I'm right there with them.
I'm sure that's not true, Ellie, but listen, you got to stop with the 50-50. Make them 80, make yourself 20, and then just make more of a connection. Because if you start adjusting things on your face, like, or your hair, like, the moment Rhett fixes his hair is the moment I know Rhett's looking at himself and not me. You know? Self-adjustments
Wow.
in the middle. If you want to date with somebody and then
I can
somebody's
fix my
constantly
hair.
self-adjusting, that is annoying.
I can fix my hair without looking at myself.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just using you as an example.
Well, it's a bad example.
You're probably right about that.
Primping and prepping is not a turn on.
But drinking
But it is a sign that
giant
someone's
hydro
interested in
flasks
you.
is.
I don't need to
Preening
turn
is a
anybody
sign
on.
someone's- like biologically, preening is a sign that someone is interested in you. If you're like wondering, like I have read over the years, like 1,000 articles about like 28 signs that he's secretly into you, you know, or whatever. And
I know,
one of
but-
them they always say is touching your hair and stuff. So, I
But
don't
at a
know if
certain
that's
point,
a red
it's,
flag
it's
for
too much.
anyone but you.
Okay,
Sure.
I think we're going to need to get another installment of this, but I don't know. If we keep doing these, we'll get an update. But Ellie, I mean, you're giving me lots to think about that has nothing at all to do with my life.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best stuff to
I
think
mean,
about.
I'll keep you updated.
All right, good luck.
Access to even more mythicality is easier than ever with the free Mythical Society mobile app. Download it in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store now.